Welcome to The Point. I'm your host, Eric Mitchell. It is a Thursday, October 15th, and it's sports recap day. It's our sports day. Normally, I have co-hosts. This week, due to crazy schedules and the madness of the sports world, I don't have anybody. So it's me. So I'm doing your sports recap. It'll be fun. We're going to cover some interesting things. It's been interesting. Going to do a recap of the NFL week that just ended 2 days ago. We're going to talk about the NBA champions, the Los Angeles Lakers, who defeated the Miami Heat. We're going to talk about Major League Baseball playoffs because we were talking about that last week. And we're going to talk about college football and how COVID has hit college football in the last 24 hours. It's been pretty major. So we've got a show for you. Hopefully it's as entertaining as I hope it can be. Sports right now is all we got, guys. It's kind of the world that we live in, and we totally enjoy having it. So we need to embrace what's going on in the world today and embrace our sports, because if it wasn't for sports, what would we have? Truly, it's a crazy day we live in. So let's start talking about it, and we'll start before we go to the break. We'll start off talking about the NBA. The NBA season came to an end the other night, like we all knew it would. On Sunday night, the Los Angeles Lakers ended up defeating the Miami Heat. LeBron James picked up his fourth crown. And the comparison continues there, where people continue to compare him to the great Michael Jordan, or of course the late Kobe Bryant. My viewpoint, and I'll share it because that's what I do for you guys, is I share my viewpoint. My viewpoint is LeBron is a darn good basketball player. Yes, incredibly, one of the best. Is he greater than Jordan? Well, they didn't play at the same time, and Jordan was Jordan, and Jordan in his prime. I don't even think LeBron was born yet. Michael Jordan was amazing. Never lost in the finals, always won. Man has his rings, still has one of the best records ever in the NBA, only to be broken by the Warriors, who ended up losing to LeBron and the Cavs. It's a fine mess, and I don't understand why we get into it. My sense is this: LeBron is one of the greats of his generation, like Kobe was before him, and of course Michael Jordan. And before Michael Jordan was the great Dr. J, and of course Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. They all kind of blended together, but you never had the comparison. You're going to say Larry Bird is better than Michael Jordan, or Michael Jordan better than Larry Bird? Larry has titles. Larry has an incredible stroke. All of them are really darn good NBA players, and all of them, to me, are considered GOATs. But what truly defines the GOAT? This argument is in the NFL also when it comes to Tom Brady. People want to say Tom Brady's the GOAT and ignore what Joe Montana's done. Again, never played against each other. Huge age difference, but we see it. But it never more as always comes up in basketball. The NBA is renowned for it. Now, at the end of the day, should we be talking about what's going on in the NBA, the fact that they played in a bubble? Can we give them kudos for the fact that they played in a bubble since July and had zero, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, zero positive COVID test results? Something that our friends in the NBA and Major League Baseball have not been able to say. Now, the NHL and WNBA also had the same results, along with our friends in Major League Soccer. Only Major League Baseball, college football, and the NFL have had to deal with outbreaks. And that is where we decide where we're going to go with sports. We have so many people giving you so much different data, whether we can come back into the stands, go back to the bubble. Will we bring fans back? Because you see fans at stadiums. We're still not getting results if fans are coming down positive with tests. We don't know. The perfect example is last Tuesday night, 2 nights ago, when the Tennessee Titans finally played again after 2 weeks. They defeated the Buffalo Bills in what was an incredible football game. I don't know what happened to the Bills Mafia. They just decided, hey, we're not going to show up. But the Titans won. But what was an argument was, how many weeks do the Titans have to heal? Buffalo had just played the week before. They didn't get a bye. They didn't get an extra week to heal up. Even without practice, still healing up means a lot. Those guys go through these plays. They know them inside and out. But again, we go without. So when we come back from the break, we're going to jump into this more. But I just want to give my opinion, and we'll stop covering the NBA. And we'll talk about the NBA in a few weeks once free agency opens again, and we kind of have an idea when the next season will be. But when we come back from the break, I'm going to recap what was an eventful, and for some of us, a very bad week in fantasy football. We're going to talk about what's coming up, and a recap of each of the game with my opinion and my thoughts on the game. Would love to hear yours. So when we come back for the break, recap of last week's NFL season and what we have on tonight's game and this weekend's upcoming matches. This is our first bye weeks for teams that haven't tested positive for COVID, so it's going to be an interesting one. More on that after the break. Welcome back to The Point. I'm Eric Mitchell, and this is our Sports Recap Thursday. Normally joined by an amazing panel. This week, you're stuck with just me. So let's jump into what was a exciting week 5. Interesting this week, I stand corrected. There is no Thursday night game. No Thursday night game tonight. Kind of crazy that we're not doing it, but like they've said, we have to get used to the schedule. So going back, we'll just start with the games and kind of run through them. First up was the Panthers and the Falcons. Now, the Falcons are renowned this season for just giving up the lead. This one, they really never were in this game to begin with. The Panthers got into it, just looked amazing, even with a running game that has been suspect. They ended up having an amazing game. The Panthers pulled this one out 23-16. Monday morning, we learned that Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Falcons, had been fired, and it was a long time. It was coming. We knew the writing was on the wall. Atlanta's been, the belle of the ball of all these games to start. But again, like Pete Carroll said in the game on Sunday night, what does it matter in the first quarter? What does it matter in the second quarter? What does it matter in the third quarter? Games are won in the fourth. That's when they count, because when the clock sounds at the end of the fourth, it's who's winning on the scoreboard that counts. So our Falcons felt that there. Probably one of the biggest upsets of the week that I'm going to go with is the Las Vegas, not the Oakland, the Las Vegas Raiders had the Chiefs. They went and visited the Chiefs' rival ground. Amazing game. Turned into a shootout where it was amazing. Like David Carr just became possessed. It was fun to watch Carr go up and down the field, was able to get those receivers open. They just churned it up, exposed Kansas City's secondary, exposed their DBs, really showed off Carr's arm. It was good to see David Carr, who's been hyped. All of us who have tried to draft him in fantasy leagues have been burned by having David Carr. Well, he made up for it. So, Mr. Carr, kudos to you and your Raiders for pulling out a 40-32 defeat of the Kansas City Chiefs. A good one for the Raider crowd. I'm sure they were really excited about that one. Some good statistics out of that game, which was great. David Carr threw for 347 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He went 22 of 31. Impressive stats. You look at their running game, nobody over 100 yards on that, but they did it by committee. So you had Jacobs with 77 yards, Booker with 62, so it went real good. And this receiving numbers, really going to the tight end again, part of Gruden. You can always tell Gruden's systems there, just outstanding. And then for our friends, Mr. Patrick Mahomes went for 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He went 22 of 43. Guy likes to throw a lot of passes. Again, running game for the Chiefs is just not there. The receiving game is Travis Kelce, of course, being one of the favorite targets with 8 receptions and 108 yards on receiving. So pretty amazing there. The next game, which I don't know if I want to call it exciting because it wasn't. The New York Jets faced the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals just looked amazing. Kyle Murray came in 380 yards. He went 27 of 37 with 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Drake finally showed up. Thank God he's on my fantasy team. Of course, I had him on the bench, so he didn't help me. That's a story for a later dance. And our friends there, Drake did pretty good. 60 yards on 18 carries. Again, the receiving cord, Hopkins is just in love with Murray. Went 6 receptions, 131 yards, and a touchdown. Big things there. And the Jets. Well, the Jets. The Jets scored 10 points in this defeat. 30-10 is what they lost. Joey Flacco, the great Joey Flacco, Super Bowl MVP Joey Flacco, showed up, threw for 195 yards, 1 touchdown pass, no interceptions. Le'Veon Bell from the Jets, who is now a free agent, hopefully to be signed by the Chiefs that we talked about just a minute ago. He went for 13 carries, 60 yards, and like I just said, was released 2 days ago. Frank Gore, the ever-lovable Frank Gore. Who can't like Frank Gore? Frank Gore's just amazing. We love Frank Gore. I'm a Niner fan, so we always love Frank Gore. No hatred on Frankie Gore. Frank Gore had 9 carries for 30 yards. Crowder came back. He had 8 receptions for 116 yards in this defeat. Just tough times for the Jets. I just don't see good things for the Jets. Big shout out to the Eagles and the Steelers. Steelers are still undefeated. They ended up beating Philadelphia, who came off that just weird defeat of the Niners, a team that only has 1 win. 38-29 is the score of that game. Carson Wentz, 258 and 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That'll always do you in a tough Steeler defense. And of course, Big Ben threw for 239, 3 touchdown passes, and 0 interceptions. I swear these old dudes, these old GOAT quarterbacks are great. Him and Brady, they don't realize that they're in their 40s. Their bodies are like, no, we're cool. It's like they're in Madden permanently. It's like, yeah, we're cool. Even though we got the Walker busted up knees, we're still going to show up and show out. Steelers are a force to be reckoned with in the AFC, and they're showing it. Big Ben came back healthy. Good run by running back by committee. John Connor, 15 carries for 44 yards. McLeod III, 2 carries for 63 yards, had a big 58-yard run. Claypool, oh my God, this is the guy. The Irishman out of Notre Dame just went nuts. 7 receptions, 110 yards, and here's the key, 3. That's right, baby. 1, 2, and 3 touchdown passes. Amazing, just amazing. Just don't forget he caught those, but he had 4 touchdowns on the night, including a run for 3 yards, and get a touchdown on that. The guy's just amazing. Like, it came out of nowhere. One of the biggest pickups in fantasy football this week. Go get him. He's clearly a target that Ben likes. He's big. He can take the hit and absorb it. That's who you're looking at there. So, what else we got here, huh? The Rams and the team from Washington, the Washington football team, or as they go by, they lost 30-10. The Rams are the winners there, just a blowout. The great story there, and I won't get to too much, Jared Goff had a good game, over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But really the highlight for me and for a lot of truists to the game was to see the great Alex Smith come back. Now, their quarterback, Allen, got hurt. Of course, their other, Haskins, ended up catching the flu after he was demoted to 3rd-string quarterback. Wasn't available, wasn't in the game, so they went to Alex Smith, who we all remember just over a year and a half ago suffered a gruesome injury that almost actually cost him his life. Alex Smith returned to the field, even though the score doesn't show it. It was great to see Alex out there. Almost teared up a little bit watching it. Alex Smith, you are a hero, brother. It was great to see your family out there. He came out and he did his job. 37 yards passing, 9 of 17. Didn't throw any interceptions, didn't throw any touchdowns. But that's a good day for him. He's just happy to be taking snaps. He had not taken contact till he stepped on the field. And what to do it against that team that was just doling out sacks like they were passing them out for candy. Let me get those sack numbers for you. Aaron Donald himself had 4 sacks. Reeder had 3. Polite with 1. This team just chewed up. These quarterbacks, no line protection at all. Just Washington. Protect your QBs. Protect my man Alex. He doesn't want to end up on the ground busted again. Man has a beautiful family. We don't need to send him home limping. Protect your quarterback. I know Washington fans are like, thanks, Eric. We know. The Bengals ran into the Ravens, and I say it that way because 27-3 means you ran into the Ravens. The Ravens are that team that their kryptonite is the Chiefs, but everybody else is certainly not. They have no problem tearing that up. Joey Burrows, he showed that he's a rookie. Going 19 for 30, 183 yards. 183 yards is what my notes say. 1 interception, no touchdowns. Mixon with 59 yards. That's not helping when the Ravens are bringing you, Lamar Jackson, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. This committee of running backs, Edwards, Dobbins, Giovanni, and Ingram, 57, 42, 34, and 25, just killing it. And of course, the receiving corps. This team is so talented. They could kill you on the ground. It's these Harbaugh boys. I'm telling you, they run this style of offense that's just unbelievable. The Niners are trying to do the same thing. The difference is Lamar Jackson is so much better than Jimmy G. Don't worry, Niners. We'll be picking on you very shortly. So we have that game. Moving right along. Jaguars and Texans. The Texans had that big changeover between the weeks as we went into week 5. They fired their what was I saying? Their coach and general manager, Romeo Crennel. The old man came in. Romeo delivered. The Texans with a big win, 30-14. Let's go through the rest, and then we'll finish this segment before we come back, talk about baseball, and then my week 6 recap, or my week 6 predictions. Let's jam through this because it will be fun. Let's jam through this right now. The Browns are 4-1, ladies and gentlemen. The Browns are 4-1. They beat the Colts 32-23. The Cowboys. That was a real tough one. The Cowboys 37-34. Dak Prescott. Yeah, just hard to see Dak Prescott go down with that compound fracture and dislocation. Just tragic injury. But Dak Prescott, Bud, we are all sports fans. Whether I'm a Niner fan and the Cowboys are not a team that we're supposed to like, man, wish you a swift recovery. We watched the same similar injury take down one of my favorite Portland Trailblazers, the Bosnian beast, Joseph Nurk. We love you, Nurk. Nurk came back from a similar injury. It's great to see the league. That's a side note here. It was great to see the league take to Twitter, and including seeing the bleed over of guys in the NBA that have suffered a similar injury. Just tragic to see Dak go down. Such heart. And it always tears me up to see these guys start crying, right? Because you could tell they leave it on the field. These guys truly love the game. And I know it gets lost into the conversion of politics and sports where the orange man says it's bad, so all of his following, his disciples go, oh my God, I hate football too, but they secretly watch. Secretly, you have to feel for these guys. These guys don't come from like rich families where they're like, hey, I'm able to play football and never have to do anything else. Football's their way of life so they can provide for their families. Why do you think their families and their mamas get brand new homes? Hey, that's what I would do for my family. If you could provide, you provide. Dak works his butt off in the offseason, believes in it. The Cowboy way believes in it. He also has the franchise player tag, which is scary for a guy like that. You could have an injury that could take more than a year to come back. Good news is Dak was able to have a surgery because it took place. The injury unfortunately took place in Dallas, but fortunately for him, was able to go to the hospital and have that surgery performed later that evening. So shout out to Dak Prescott. Shout out to the Cowboys for that victory. What else do we got here? Vikings, Seahawks. That was a heck of a game Sunday night. Seahawks were down for the entire evening until they just came back. Russell Wilson is just fabulous. Guy has my vote for MVP. If I were to get to vote, I would be giving it to Russ. Russell Wilson, dude, just killer. That game was 27-26, settled at the very end. Chargers and Saints went to overtime, and the Saints pulled out that one 30-27. I'm telling you, that rookie QB is amazing. From Oregon. Amazing guy. And then you go to Titans and the Bills played each other Tuesday night. That one's a final 42-16. 2 weeks off must be nice, Titan fan. You guys are 4-0. Had 2 weeks off. You caused us not to have a Thursday night game. Thank you, I guess is where we'll go with that. And then, well, we'll finish before we go to break with this one. San Francisco 49ers traveled to, they didn't travel. No, we didn't. I wish we said that we did. But the Niners played the Dolphins and lost. It was a disgusting game from beginning to end. Final score 43-17. Jimmy G, I've never believed in him as a quarterback. I think we spent too much to get that guy. It's not the future. We're a running team, very clear by our numbers. Very depressing, very sad game. Not a lot to say that's positive on that one. Mr. Beathard, hopefully you step up. You had a rough game yourself. You actually didn't throw any interceptions, which is an advantage. Jimmy, you threw 2. We'll blame it on your ankle. We'll blame it on whatever you want. Mozart had a great game, came back, 11 carries, 90 yards. 37 was his longest run. McKinnon had a horrible game. Wilson Jr., you came out, 27 yards, 4 carries. Receiving core, Kittle. Thank God for Kittle. He was the only one. 4 receptions, 44 yards. And it came down to Kevin Bourne, 2 receptions, 30 yards, 1 touchdown. Just fugly is the only way to do it. Now, no one told the beard over there, Mr. Fitzmagic. He went for 350 yards, 22 of 28 on passing, 3 touchdowns, averaging over 12.5 yards per pass. Just amazing. Again, running back by committee, they just killed it. Williams, oh my goodness, this guy from the Dolphins, 4 receptions, 106 yards, 47 is his longest. You look at Galiski, their tight end, 5 receptions, 91 yards. His long was a 70, or tight end 70 yards. Come on, Niners. This defense was staticky and pathetic. I don't have anything positive to say on that. We just hope they bounce back. Leaves us with the standings. Buffalo still in first place in the AFC East. They are 4-1. Pittsburgh is 4-0. They lead the AFC North. AFC South still 4-0 for the Tennessee Titans. Kansas City leads the AFC West with a 4-1 record. The closest team to them is Las Vegas, which is 3-2. Now, the Chargers are the team that they look really good on paper. Their record being 1-4 doesn't show it. They've had a really tough schedule. And the NFC East, I'm telling you, at 2-3, the Dallas Cowboys are number 1, with Philly at 1-3-1 right behind them. You have the NFC North, Green Bay still undefeated, and the Bears right behind them at 4-1. In the NFC South, you have New Orleans as the number 1 as of this week. They are 3-2, with Carolina right behind them at 3-2. Tampa Bay at 3-2. Those 3 teams are just, it's amazing how much they're going to be decided. That's going to be an interesting one coming down. Of course, the Falcons 0-5, new head coach under the way. And of course, out of the NFC West, you have this is normal, Seahawks 5-0, Rams 4-1, Arizona 3-2, and the Niners sitting at 2-3. Tough schedule, tough injuries, but no excuse to not win. So that's what we have for a recap of NFL Week 5. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk baseball. We have baseball playoffs going on, even a game today as we're speaking. So we will talk a recap Wednesday's game, and we will talk about Week 6, go over the games and my picks, and then we're done. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. When we come back from the break, we'll talk baseball and finish the show. And we are back here talking sports. It's Thursday. That's what we do here on sports. It's been fun. So Wednesday was a blowout. When we talk about baseball, the Dodgers hung it on to the Braves after the Braves stepped up the first 2 games, really hung it on. The Dodgers are just a postseason mess. They're like the Buffalo Bills of the postseason. You just have great hopes for them. They do great during the regular season, and then that's basically what you get. But they decided, no, we're not going to go down without a fight. Rung in 11 runs in the first inning, finishing that game 15-3, what's more of a football score in Atlanta than a baseball game. Just amazing job. They have a game going on right now as we speak. It is on as we're going, so it'll be an interesting game. The Dodgers are on, and obviously we're waiting for the final score of the Rays-Astro game. Can the Astros stay alive? We certainly hope not. We will be celebrating next week if the Astros are gone. Bye-bye, Astros. Bye-bye. Good job for the Rays. I know my boy Jeff, who's on our show regularly, is a very happy camper. Baseball's been great. I know we talked about the Yankees last week. Ran into a Rays team that we all talked about. It was just fabulous. Braves stayed alive. You saw the picks that we've been talking about, but it came down to Brandon Steiner knows what he's talking about. Jeff, you both know what you're talking about. And, of course, other Jeff. He was right, too. Everybody's picks doing pretty well. Yankee fans, heartache. Good to see the Rays there. We don't want the Astros. Was hoping to see the Dodgers show up. For my Dodger friends, would have loved to see that, see them go to the series and win it, but it's hard. This Rays team's amazing. If the Braves end up pulling this one out and able to stay alive and hoard off what I think the Dodgers are going to make a run for it and make a series out of it, if they're able to stay alive, I don't know how exciting that World Series is going to be. It is interesting with all the games being so quickly back to back. I'm just going to give you that. It's kind of crazy how much we consistently are doing with that. So that's that subject. Good times there. So let's pivot and go back to college football. Now, college football's been in the news, as we heard before we went to air today. Nick Saban, we learned about this on Wednesday evening. Nick Saban, the head coach and the athletic director, also at Alabama, the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. Both the AD and Coach Saban both tested positive for COVID-19. That we found out right after we found out that the LSU Florida Gator game will be postponed due to just a huge outbreak of COVID-19. Now, college football is really making a raring. In the next 2 weeks, we will have the Big 12 back and the Pac-12 will be back. That will make things the Big 10 and the Pac-12. Too many numbers on this stuff. It'll be really interesting when we see those come back, because then you're going to add in more. How many more tests are we going to have? We're hitting fall. This is what Dr. Fauci talked about would be what's going on and COVID and testing and the bubble. Again, shout out WNBA, NBA, Major League Soccer, and the NHL. 0 positive COVID tests have tainted anything that you've done. Now, the WNBA had it near the semifinals. That's because they moved locations. But secure bubbles, no positive tests. It makes it really interesting as we go into that time of year. So this is what we have left. We have the end of baseball. We have an NFL football season that we're hoping that we can continue on. We got all healthy tests. Cam Newton is back at practice. So we'll see where we go there. COVID is still something that we need to be concerned about. We need to get fans back in the stadium. It was good to see the Titans did have fans in their stadium, and still 0 test. Maybe we've all learned. There's some strict requirements, but we're learning, and I think that we'll get through this. Absolutely, the NFL season won't be canceled. I know I've heard people message me and ask me, no, NFL season is not in jeopardy of being canceled. So that leaves us with the games of the week. So let's do my picks. We have the Texans at the Titans. Whew. The Titans play on the 18th. So that is going to be an interesting week for that, because, yep, they're going to be playing, and that's for sure. They're going to talk about playing Tuesday, playing again. They have a game on Sunday on the 18th. I'm going to say the Texans pull this out. The Titans, not a lot of time for recovery. I could be wrong, but I'm going to go with the Texans on this one. Bengals meet the Colts. I'm going with the Bengals. Bengals are going to come back strong. Joey Burrows looks amazing. Falcons at Vikings. Vikings just lay one on the Falcons. Falcons will go to 0-5. Giants at Redskins. I'm going with Giants. They looked impressive the other night. Even though they lost, they looked very impressive. Ravens and Eagles. I'm going with Ravens, just walking all over the Eagles. No way that the Eagles can even stand up to that team. It's not the Chiefs, and the Ravens are still pissed off, and they have the same record now as the Chiefs. They're going to need to make sure they continue their winning ways. Steelers at Browns. Now, this is an interesting one and hard to pick for me. Baker Mayfield makes a start on my fantasy team this week as we go into a bye week, so I'm missing both my starting QBs that I run in my league, Mr. Hebert, and of course the great Russell Wilson is off on a bye week. I also run with Mr. Keenan Allen on my team as one of my wide receivers. So plagued in the bye week. I feel the pain. I want to give Baker in this team some love. The Steeler team looks amazing. I'm going to call it. Sorry, Steeler fans. I love you, Steeler Nation. Going with the Brownies on this one. Bears at Panthers. Bears. Jags and Lions. I swear it feels like I should be Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh, my. Lions versus Jaguars. I'm going to give that one to the Lions. Broncos, Patriots. Patriots all day long. Broncos look like a hot mess. Their defense is disheveled. Offense can't get down. Big injuries there. Jets, Dolphins all day long. Dolphins dismantled a good 49er team. The Jets look like hot garbage. The Dolphins will be making a run for that AFC East. It is wide open there. They are looking good. The Bills, they lost their first game. They're going to be, they need the win. They need to continue winning. The AFC East is wide open, so you got to be careful. The Dolphins could squeak one in here. Packers versus the Buccaneers. That's a tough game, pitting Brady, the 12s versus each other. Battle of the 12s. You have Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay versus Tom Brady and the Bucks. Whew. It's a toughie, right? Just a toughie. That's a tough one. Where do I go here, guys? I like Tom Brady. I like the Bucks. I'm going to go with the Packers. I really like Aaron Rodgers. I like how he's come out with a chip on his shoulder. That's what I'm calling it. That's my call. Put a bow on that one. I got the Packers versus Tom Brady. Rams 49ers. hate to pick against my team, but I'm going with the Rams. Rams look good. They are sacking everybody. I just hope the Niners are ready for that defense, and I don't think they are. Chiefs, there we go. Chiefs play Bills Nation, the Bills Mafia. This is a tough pick. I'm going with the Chiefs. I generally believe they're going to come back with a vengeance. And the Bills are going to be, again, it makes that AFC East wide open. So the Bills will really need to step up their game. This Chiefs team's going to come back angry. Anytime that they've lost, the next following week is usually pretty destructive on the team that they're facing. Bills, you better have your big boy pants on. Cowboys, Cardinals. I know Andy Dalton is the quarterback. It'll see how the team steps up. I want to say I want the Cowboys, and it's hard. So I'm going to say Cowboys over the Cardinals. So there you have it. Those are my picks of the week. And just so we are clear, you do have Tampa Bay, who isn't going to be the Astros will not be swept. Now, they can make it a series if they win their game today. But obviously, winning on Wednesday kept them alive, so they won't be eliminated. That's so good for them, but they have to win tonight or they're eliminated. So it's funny how each week we have somebody new getting eliminated. So that's what we have for sports picks. When we come back from the break, we're going to close out the show and tell you who we have coming up on Friday. That is our show for today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me for the last 30 some odd minutes. You guys listened to me longer than my own children and wife, so thank you. I'm just kidding. I'm glad you guys tuned in for that. Our cast will be back. Our expert panel will be back next Thursday. We have a great show for you tomorrow on Friday you don't want to miss. That's right. We have Ronnie Marmo joining us, Hollywood actor and producer and director. Recently played the great Lenny Bruce in a one-man show. Excited to interview Ronnie. And of course, I'm joined by our executive producer, the lovely Jordan Gelber, will be, of course, joining me as co-host, as she does every Friday. So you don't want to miss that. We're going to be talking about pop culture, what's going on in the news, and what you should be looking out for over the weekend. I don't know how many people checked out The Vow that Jordan talked about last week. We are addicted to it now. We started watching it last weekend. Let me tell you, it's pretty darn good. So good pick by Jordan. So you don't want to miss that. We have a great week coming up for you next week. But hey, let's get to our weekend. We deserve our weekend. Don't want to miss it. So that's what we're doing. So once again, if you know somebody that'd like to be a guest, or you'd like to be a guest, or you have a complaint, compliment, or just want to say, hey, go ahead and feel free to email us at hello@tothepointtv.com. Myself, Marina, or Jordan will get back to you ASAP to see how we can help you with your answers, your complaints, your positive comments. And again, folks, I say this at the end of every episode when we only have so many days left until election. Voting has never been more important, and remember, there are more than just two candidates out there. Do your homework, do your research, and if you need help locating and how to make sure you're voting the correct way, not helping you place your votes, we're not doing that, but if you need to find a voting location, our team here is more than happy to send you the link so you can find it in your region where you can go drop off your ballot safely, or you can mail it in. Remember, mail them in before, and make sure you vote on November 3rd. Now is the time. You cannot be one of those people who ends up complaining after the fact, like, I don't like this person, if you didn't vote. It's like you just lose all credibility to be able to vote when you don't. If you don't vote, you don't vote, and you don't get to complain. That's how it works. Anyways, folks, that's my lecture for voting like you hear every day. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. Make sure you're following us on all the social media. Check us out on C-Suite TV, where you can catch us every day. And remember, you can watch us live here on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, weeknights. That's right, weeknights. You can catch us. And we'll be here. Always go check us out on YouTube if you miss an episode, or if you miss a YouTube and you want to see it on C-Suite, go check us out on C-Suite TV. Look us up under To The Point. You'll see this face and our logo. And guess what? You can check us out. Share it with a friend. Tell a friend to show up. And we will catch you guys tomorrow on Friday. It's Friday. Sounds good, right? It always sounds good to say, it's Friday. So it's Friday. We'll see you guys here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. As always, I'm your host, Eric Mitchell. Be safe, be strong, be smart, and God bless America.
to the point.
Sit and enjoy.
This is Eric Mitchell, he the host of the show. Get to the point.
He is the voice.
We needed this, something more. This a daily show that's known for politics and the sports.
Ain't no limit to whoever you may see at this point. To celebrities, Eric Key's beast in the joint.
As a veteran, put him at ease, then anoint.
Every conversation can never be disappointed.
Whether tragic
or it's happy,
Eric will cover whatever's happening.
whether it be a gymnast, toe tapping,
Talking about nearly any athlete.
not taking a back seat. You're never gonna get it past T.
Everybody running from it, it's a stampede.
But he's on it like this man who took that knee.
Mr. Mitchell's way too crafty.
To the point.